I've been thinking about what made us successful over the last 30 years. We actually had a town hall yesterday to talk about BlackRock's purpose for the next 30 years to all our employees. And I would say probably the most important thing that we did from the first day we started the organization was we framed every question, we framed everything that we were doing on behalf of what the client needs. And that sounds kind of hokey and phony, but everything in terms of our acquisitions or mergers, the way we framed the company, the way we designed our technology, it was all done in the framework of what does the client need. And in addition, I must say now in 30 years, I mean, this is probably the most amazing feat that I could talk about in my career, that in these last 30 years, I never looked backwards. The trust that we have with our partners, the organization, the spirit of the firm, and the culture of the organization to try to constantly improve, grow, stay in front of the needs of the clients, focus on the totality of the firm, not any silos. After 30 years, I could proudly say we've been focused forward every day for 30 years. To achieve what we're trying to do it's about talking about culture every day. There's not a day in my job, there's not a business trip where I visit where I don't focus on culture. And all the other leaders do that. And we obviously try to live that culture that we talk about. So it's not some BS conversation that's etched on a wall. It's how we live every day. But probably the key characteristic to be in 100 countries, that means in Japan, and we're the largest pension manager in Japan, we have to be Japanese. We're not a US firm in Japan, we're a Japanese firm. Now, the principles of the organization, the spirit of the organization, everybody in Japan has to feel that, understand it. They have to understand what are the proper behaviors and what are not the proper behaviors, how to deal with a client. Relentless focus on education and re-education and staying in front of all the needs of the clients. In Italy, we have to be Italian. In the US, we have to be American. In Mexico, where we are now we just did an acquisition, we're going to be the largest asset manager in Mexico. We have to be Mexican. We have to be connected with society. We have to work with society to build a better future for our clients in Mexico. And if we try to impart an American ideal in Mexico, we're not serving our clients in Mexico.
I read something from one of your former partners at First Boston that said, this is a guy who always wanted more than he had. He was the guy whose nose was pressed against the window. You could sense his ambition. What was driving you this whole time? Because you got big pretty fast. I mean, I hear you're not saying that you talk about $6 trillion, but it's there, and
it's really an unimportant statistic. It really is. It's a big number, but it's not something we should be focused on.
If you were suddenly 3, I think it would bug you.
You're right. You're right.
You believe a company should be run to the benefit of all stakeholders, not just shareholders.
Over a long horizon, I believe a company to have strong financial performance, still the #1 paramount requirement. A company has to have a purpose, and a purpose that connects its employees, a purpose that connects its clients to the company, and so a company can have a long financial performance. Let me add one more thing. And in addition, companies need to be more connected in the societies where they operate and be part of that. And I think we've lost that. I think we've misused and overused this concept that only responsibility is profits, profits, profits. Because I do believe when you're connected with your clients, When you're connected with your community over a long horizon, you will produce those above trendline profits. When you're not connected, when you're disassociated, if you have a purpose that does not connect your employees, if you have a purpose that does not connect your clients or the communities in which you operate, over a long horizon, you're going to fail. Governments, and I'm saying plural, not singular in this moment,
Yes.
governments have unfortunately been more focused on the short term.
So you feel
And
that
I believe companies can and must play a bigger role. And I believe the best companies and the companies that perform the best, I'm talking about financially, are companies that are thinking beyond that profit of the moment, but they're being more, they are more connected with the society in which you're operating. They're serving a purpose, and when that company is that connected with the society in which they operate, beyond just having employment, but serving a bigger role in the community, they will have long-term financial success.
So is that philanthropy? Is that benefits? Is that what is that?
It's
Education?
yes,
reimbursements?
yes. It depends on the need of the client, of the company, the role the company plays. We're not saying if you're in hydrocarbons, get out of it. Okay, we're not saying that, but we've been much more impactful, I believe, with many of the companies that are in the energy area to start focusing on their impact on climate change and how are they navigating their company. The last thing we want to know as a long-term investor that they're going to ultimately have a lot of stranded costs or stranded businesses. And so probably the most important thing that we are trying to do and what we're trying to ask everybody is to trust your shareholders. Be more transparent in your strategy. Help us understand your purpose and how you see what's right for you and your company and your role in your society. We're not telling you what you should do. Should it be in education or philanthropy? What we're asking companies to think about their higher purpose. And we want them to be more open about how they are trying to
And a
improve.
purpose is not selling more things.
No, that's an outcome. That's an outcome. But we're not.
One of the areas that I read that you do spend a lot of time on is you talked about boards, diversity. These are issues that you say are important to you, near and dear to me, this issue of diversity. Why are you focused there?
Well, that's just one component of good governance.
Why don't people do that better?
I don't have any idea. I mean, it shocks to me. First of all, when we talk about diversity, one thing that is underspoken, it's very clear. I think more and more companies are focusing on gender diversity, still not enough. Everybody's focusing on ethnic diversity. What is not being discussed enough, because it's intangible and it's harder to, if you don't get diversity of mind, you're probably in as much trouble as any component of diversity. I actually believe too many business people, probably academics and on and on and on, and any other profession, docs and everybody else, they like replicants around them. They like people who think, act, do exactly what they do. And that's the ultimate failure of any organization. What we have not done is educate people about the virtue of compounding, the virtue of long-termism. In fact, for the average individual saver who should be outcome-oriented for investing for that 40-year outcome called retirement, 50-year outcome called retirement, they don't understand that. And they don't understand that what's happening in the world today really doesn't matter.
So how do we get them there?
Well, unfortunately for that 50-year-old, it's hard to get them anywhere, and they're just going to have to work longer. And I think that's the anger that we have in this country today. It's that, what happened? Here I am 50 years old or 45 years old. I don't have enough in savings, which is one of the big problems we have in society, and now they're forced to work longer.
But 50 today is not 50, 30 years ago.
But we haven't educated people on the merits of longevity and the opportunity. And, as I said, the advancements in medicine and longevity has been fantastic. We have not made longevity a blessing. We're making longevity a burden.
Right.
And
Because you're going to outlive your money.
You're outliving your money. And so I don't have a good solution for that 40 and 50-year-old other than you're going to have to work longer. But gosh, if we don't create better financial literacy for that 20-year-old and 25-year-old, we're not serving our country. We're not serving our community, in which our purpose is supposed to be helping people have a bright financial future. This is critical, and this is why we're investing so much money in technology, and we're spending so much time. Our technology platform now, we have the ability to provide that at the individual level. So we're trying to get more education. We're doing a lot more in robo-advice, and just it's all about financial literacy.